Happy Monday, students. Today we're going to be doing lesson 2 of our MyMath, and that is on your page 17. That's where we're starting. And we're comparing and ordering whole numbers through the millions. So last time we looked at place value through the millions, and now we're going to compare them. And we're trying to figure out how the position of a digit in a number relates to its value. So if you guys remember from 4th grade, these are our greater than, less than, and equal to symbols. Those are what we use to compare numbers. And remember, our symbols are like an alligator, right? So if we have our alligator and he's got some teeth on the inside, and let's see, they've got eyes on the top of their head. This is a really ugly alligator. But they like to eat the bigger numbers. So we're always going to open up that mouth, the alligator mouth, towards the bigger number. So let's take a look at our example number 1. It says, this table shows the 2 largest oceans in the world. Which ocean has a greater area? So our table here is comparing oceans and the area in square miles of those oceans. The Atlantic Ocean is 33,420,160 miles, and the Pacific Ocean is 64,186,600 miles. So we're going to, step 1, write the numbers in the place value chart, and it's given you a spot for the Atlantic Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. So I'm going to write those in, Atlantic, and remember we look at our periods. We have the ones period, the thousands period, and the millions period. So here's our ones period, thousands period, and millions period. So we have 33,420,000 period, and 160 in the ones. And then for the Pacific Ocean, we do the same thing. We have the ones period, the thousands period, and now we're in the millions, 64. So 64,186,600. And we're going to always begin at the greatest place on the left. These are both in the same 10 million. So now we just compare the 3 and the 6. So you see we have the 6 and the 3. Which one is bigger? Which one's bigger, 6 or 3? It's definitely going to be 6. The alligator is going to eat that bigger number. Since the 6 is greater than the 3, then 64,186,600 is greater than that 3 plus the whole number. So which ocean has the greatest one? It's this one. And this is a word problem, and it wants to know which ocean. So we're going to, is it the Atlantic or Pacific? It's the Pacific. The Pacific Ocean has a greater area. And if you need to pause the video there before we move on to the next page, go ahead and do that. Okay, for example 2, it says this table shows the area in square miles in different countries. Use place value to order the countries from greatest to least. So this time we're not going to use our greater than, less than. We're going to order them from greatest, the biggest, to least, the smallest. So here's our table. Again, we have countries and area in square miles. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 countries, and this is how big they are. And we have to put the biggest one first, greatest. So step 1 is to line up the ones place. So this ones place we want to make sure is all in a row, and they've done that right here. They've rewritten them already for you. So you line up the ones, you line up the tens, you line up the hundreds, you line up the thousands, the 10,000s, the 100,000s, and then the millions. And then we're always going to compare the digits in the greatest place first. So we have a 1, a 2, a 1, and this one has actually 0,000. So which is bigger, 0, 1, 2, or 1? 2. 2 is greater than 1. So which country, this amount, has the greatest area? We go up to our table, we find that country, and we look across. Oh, it's Australia. So Australia has the greatest area. Then we go to step 2. Now we compare the next. So now here we have, let's see, compare the digits in the next place. It wants us to see that, well, we can cross this off because that one we've already done. Now here is tricky because this is a 1 and this is a 1. So that means we have to go to the next. And we're looking at these two, remember? Not this one. This one is a smaller amount. So which one is bigger, 2 or 0? Well, 2 is greater than 0. So this is going to be our next one, which is 1,269,000. So I go up there, I find that on my table. Oh, that's India. So India has the next greatest area. Now let's cross that off our list. And now we're comparing these two. Now this one, we start back at our greatest place again, and 1 is bigger than 0. So we know that this is the biggest, and it wants you to write that smaller number here for some reason. It's telling you that that 1 million is bigger than this 125,000. Since that, the area of, what's our big guy here? Argentina. Argentina is greater than the area of Norway. So if we list out our countries in order, the order from greatest to least is Australia. That was our first one. And then second is India. Third is Argentina. And fourth is Norway. And you can go ahead and pause here if you need to finish that. Okay, let's look at our guided practice together. We're going to write greater than, less than, or equal to in each circle to make it a true sentence. Now remember, we always have to line up the digits. So I say just pick one of them. So this one's already written, so let's line up. So let's line up our ones place. So this is another 3, a 4, a 5, and then 5, 5, 6. So let's see, 5, 5, 6. Now it's easy to compare. Remember, we always start with the greatest place. So which is bigger, a 6 or a 5? Oh, well, a 6. So that whole number is greater. The alligator eats that. So let's line up our numbers here. The ones period, we have 301 over here. We'll move this 207 and then 10. So we start in our greatest place. So we compare 1 and 1. Those are the same. Now we go to the next one. We compare 0 to 0. Same. Next one, 0 and 2. Which is bigger? Oh, 2 is definitely bigger than 0. So this whole number is going to be bigger. And then this time we're going to order the numbers from greatest, the biggest, to least. So the only way we can do this is if we stack them up and match up their ones place. So we're just going to write like our own little table down here. Let me see if I can get my book straight so you can see it. Okay, so let's start with this one, and we're going to write 145,099. Being super neat here is required, and in fact you can make like a little lines like this. This actually can really help you. Okay, so there's that one. Now let's put this one. It's got 032 in the ones period and 154. Okay, we've written that one. We've written that one. Now let's write this one. It's got 004 in the ones period and 145 in the thousands period. And then we've got one more. We've got 023 in the ones period and 159 in the thousands period. Now that we have those lined up, we can actually start to compare them. So if we look at the greatest column here, they're all ones, the greatest place value, they're all ones. So we have to go to the next one. So let's go here. We have 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, well 5s are definitely bigger than 4s, but but we don't know which one to go from there because those are the two 5s are the same. So now we're just looking at this one, which has a 5, and this one, which has a 5. So for just the time being, you can kind of ignore these ones. We're going to go to the next one, next greatest place value. So we have 5, we're looking at just these two. Remember, I almost messed up. So we've got a 4 and a 9. So which is greater, 4 or 9? 9 is greater. So this is the very biggest number. So it wants it greatest to least, so we're going to write that. So we've got 159,023. And we can cross this off of our list, and I can cross it off there too if we want. Now, remember, if we go back, let's say we forgot where we were going. We go back and we compare 1, 1, 1, all the same. 4, 5, 4. Oh yes, this was the other big one. So this is our second biggest. So we write it down. 154, 154,032. Oh, and to put, this gets tricky because you're writing a list. So we actually use a semicolon in between them, just to help keep it straight so it doesn't look like one giant number. Okay, now we're going to go back to the beginning. We still have 1, 1, and we go to the next largest digit. Oh, we have 4, 4. Okay, same, tied. Let's go over one more. 5, 5. Oh, still tied. Let's go over one more. 0, 0. Still tied. This next one over. 9, 0. Oh, 9 is definitely bigger. So that's going to be next. I put a semicolon and I write out my number. And then the smallest number is this one. Again, feel free to pause the video at any time if you're watching this and you need more time to work on a problem. Okay, let's do some of the independent practice together, and then I'll send you off to finish this. You're going to write greater than, less than, or equal to in each sentence to make a true sentence. And remember, I always recommend lining up your digits and stacking them so we can compare. This is going to become even more important, you guys, as we do fractions. So stack them up. I know it's an extra step to write them out, but go ahead and stack them up. Now we compare the greatest place value. We've got 4, 4, and 6, 2. Which is bigger, a 6 or a 2? The 6 is, so that whole number is bigger. And then I'm going to go down with you guys. I'm going to go down and I'm going to have you finish these ones on your own. So we're going to write these numbers out. Let's see, we've got millions, thousands, ones period. So let's see, we've got 21,318,724. Okay, so we started our greatest place value. They both are 2. We go to the next one. We have a 0 and a 1. Which is bigger? The 1. So that whole number over here is bigger. Question 8, they're trying to trick you. So make sure you pay attention on question 8 to your periods. So you have the ones period and the thousands period. So that's what we're going to line up. We need to line up that ones digit. So here we have our 721. And then we put our thousands period right there. Now, both these numbers start with 132. So if you just glanced, you'd say, oh, that's even. But actually, this one has 0 things in the millions place value. So this number is way bigger than the one below it. And then here we've got our ones, thousands, and millions periods. So we can write those out. 333,113 million. So we start comparing. Same, move over, same, move over, same, move over. 2 and a 3. Oh, 3 is bigger, so that entire number is bigger. Go ahead and pause the video here, and I want you to complete 5 through 11 on your own. Go ahead and pause the video and complete 5 through 11 on your own. Okay, now that we're back, I want you to check out these last 2 instructions is to order the numbers from greatest to least. So the biggest number to the smallest. Remember, if you just glance at these numbers, you're not going to get it right. So we're going to have to take some space over here and either make a table, or what you can do is you all have in the back of your September packet, you all have some graph paper in the back of your September packet. So you can take out that graph paper, find it, and pause the video if you need to find it, and you can use this graph paper to line them up and keep your numbers nice and neat and straight. So we can write them out, and I'm going to make sure my ones lines up right here. So here's my number. I have a 3, 2, 0. So 138,023. Okay, now I have 138,032. 139,006. And 184,487. So remember, it wants this from greatest to least. So we always start comparing in the greatest place value, no matter what. We have a 1, a 1, a 1, a 1, all the same. So we move to their next column. We have 3, 3, 3, and 8. Well, 8 is definitely the biggest, so that's our greatest value. So we're going to write that one in first. So we're going to write our 184,487 as our first number. And remember, that's just a semicolon I put at the end to help us keep that list of numbers straight. I can go back to my graph paper and cross that number off because we're done with him. Okay, now we go back to compare. Remember, it was same, 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 same. And then we go to our next greatest place value, and we have an 8, an 8, and a 9. Well, 9 is definitely bigger than 8, so this is going to be our next one. So we're going to write it 139,006. 139,006 is that number. I've got it written down so I can cross it off. Now I just have 2 more numbers to compare. The same, the same, the same. Oh, next digit over is the same again. And so we go here, which is bigger, a 2 or a 3? 3 is bigger, so that's going to be our next number, 138,032. And that means the smallest one must be this one, 138,023. I'm going to have you do this one, number 13. Pause the video and go ahead and do number 13. Hopefully you have your graph paper out. If you don't, you can get it at this point. Pause the video and do number 13 and number 14. 13 and 14, and then come back. Oops, I pushed pause. I think that's okay. Okay, so for question 13, I wrote out, this is just you checking your work. If you've already done this, you should have already done it, so check your work. I wrote out a column, hopefully you did like this, and you have all the ones lined up together. So remember, we start comparing here, so you should have got that was the same, and then we're going to move to this. Now we're just looking at, these ones don't have any 10 millions. So these two are not part of our first look. So we can kind of pretend to ignore them for a second. I just put a really fine line over them. We're just comparing these two right now because these ones have 3 in the 10 millions place. So then we go to the next place, both 4s. So we have both 3s, both 4s. We go to the next one. Oh, we have a 5 and a 0. The 5 is bigger, so this whole number is bigger. So that's the first number you would have written down, 34,530,953. And then the next one is this one because these don't have any 10 millions. So we were comparing those two. So this is our next biggest number, 34,035,952. And now we have 2 numbers left to compare. And so those you should have started here. They don't have any 10 millions. And then here we have a 3 and a 4. The 4 is bigger, so that number, 4,935,002, is the next largest. And the smallest number, which is still a really big number, is 3,452,034. That was just to help you and make sure you got that. You should have done 14 on your own. And then what I want you to do is 2 more on this page, and then you'll be done with this page. I want you to order these ones, numbers 16 and 17. You don't have to do 15, and you don't have to do 18 and 19. I want you to do these from least to greatest. So you're going to have to make a table again using your graph paper and write those out. But this time it wants the smallest one first. So you can get the largest one first if you want, but you're going to write them in reverse order. After you're done with this page, we'll turn over and I'll tell you what you're going to do on the back. So finish working on this, pause your video while you're working, and then we'll turn over to our last page. Okay, you guys, on the last page for our work today, you're just going to do actually these 3 questions. So you're going to do 20, 21, and 22. They've already got the table written, and actually they're pretty lined up. So if you want to draw lines to help you compare like this, since they're already lined up, it wants to know this one from the least to the greatest, the smallest to the largest. And then this one is a little bit different the way they've arranged it. Order the cars from most expensive to least expensive. So remember, most is another synonym for greatest. So this is greatest to least. And so these are very expensive cars also. So I don't recommend making those your first purchases. And then the last question you're going to do is to write 3 numbers that are greater than this number, but less than this number. So I want you to think about it. If it helps you, write out a table and see what other numbers you could fit like on this side that would be between these 2 numbers. So see if you can think of 3. And then that's all for this lesson. You do not have to do any more, and you do not have to do, oops, I'm breaking my thing, no homework page. So you do not need to do the next page. You guys are good to go, and we will be taking a picture of this work and putting it in our digital notebook for next week. Great work, you guys. Keep it up.